Hey, everybody. Have you ever felt like each thought in your head is just like one heavy weight and it keeps piling up until you're carrying this really heavy burden on your shoulders? Well, today we're going to talk about how to get rid of that heavy, burdensome weight by using a tool called cognitive diffusion, which is actually a tool by acceptance commitment therapy. This tool is amazing because it's designed to help people change the way they view their thoughts and their relationship to their thought. By separating ourselves from our thoughts, we can learn that guess what? Our thoughts are not always facts and they're not always true. That is the beautiful thing about cognitive diffusion. It really helps you to see your thoughts for what they really are. And when you're able to do that, you're able to focus on what's important to you, your values, not your fears and your doubts. Sounds pretty amazing, huh? So let's dive right in and see what cognitive diffusion can do for us today. So, how does cognitive diffusion work? Well, it works by changing how we interact with our thoughts. We can actually separate our thought from us as a person. Instead of letting our thoughts control our emotions or our behaviors, we can actually learn to observe them without attaching any meaning to them. What it's really doing is breaking the link from our thought to our emotional response, which then allows us to distance ourselves from it. Kind of like sitting back and watching a black and white movie screen with no words.
Or like looking up at the clouds in the sky.
Just watching them float by. No judgment, no meaning, just letting them go. As you probably noticed, this technique is not about getting rid of the thought, but it's about getting rid of the negative power in the thought because it no longer defines you or who you are. We're going to work on some cognitive diffusion techniques, and they involve noticing the thought, adding a diffusion statement, observing the thought, and then focusing on the actions and the values that you want to focus on. The first one is noticing the thought. This is where you really just tune into any emotion that feels distressing or negative or unhelpful to you in some way. Because guess what? You don't need to analyze it. You just need to notice it. Instead, we're just going to label the thought for what it is. You might say something like, I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. It's not something that you are identifying or owning. Next, we're going to take it and we're going to add a diffusing statement. This can be fun because we can be creative and we can add something hilarious or entertaining. It helps to make the thought less threatening by doing so. For example, you can say the thought out loud in a silly way with a silly voice, or maybe imagine it as a thought bubble over your head. Now, once you have distanced yourself from that thought by doing this diffusion technique, you can simply observe it. It's just a song like musical numbers floating by. And now we get to move on to focusing on what really matters. This is where you get to use those core values and decide what you want to do. You dictate how you act, not your thoughts. After you've implemented this technique, you'll probably see something a little bit different. For example, before, when you had that first thought, it might have looked like this. I can't do this project. I'm just not smart enough. But after the diffusion technique, you might think something like this. I am thinking that I'm not smart enough, but that doesn't mean anything because I know it's not true. And I can still move forward and work on this project. This technique works so amazingly well because it has been shown to reduce anxiety. It's been shown to reduce depression by eliminating a lot of negative thought patterns that we used to own previously. Not only that, it increases our psychological flexibility. We have the ability to look at things in a different way and to see different perspectives. It also enhances our present moment awareness. When we are more aware of what's happening with our thoughts and our emotions in the present, then we have more power to do something about it. And lastly, it encourages actions. So we're not just thinking about it, we're doing something about it. And then we're choosing what we want to do next. That is its true power. Remember, you are not your thoughts. Well, maybe some of the good ones, right? But a lot of those, we simply need to recognize that they don't tell the truth. And more than anything, regardless of what they are, we have the power to choose how we will respond to those thoughts. So I really want you to go ahead and start practicing cognitive diffusion today and see how it impacts your life. I am hoping that will free you up so you can really focus on the values that are important to you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. So please share if you like this and it helped you, and I will see you next time. And of course, don't forget, your mind matters because you matter. Thank you.